Welcome to the Popish Plot. I'm Nate.
I'm Jessica.
And I'm Mike.
Today we come to you because we found out that some friends of ours, the hosts of the podcast, the Armchair Catholic, have decided to, I don't know, how do you want to put it?
Finally be obedient to the Pope.
Yes.
I know I missed a lot in the Catholic podcast because it's the month of Halloween and they usually don't deal with murder or ghost or anything, but
So anyways.
how far off the rails have they gone in the last month?
Oh, no. This has been a problem almost from the beginning.
This has been a problem almost from the beginning. So today they announced that this week's episode would be their final episode.
Not today for you, but today for us.
Today for us.
So, did they insist that they don't like beer that the Pope has come out and said he liked? Because I remember there was a big thing about beer.
No. Shh, we'll get there. We'll get there.
So, Pope Francis, as he often does, gave some public remarks.
Okay.
And he said that he does not want people to be just armchair Catholics.
And he came out with this right around the time, I believe, shortly after the start of the podcast.
It was that week.
They just debuted, but obviously they picked out the name.
They'd already picked out the name.
They'd recorded a few weeks ahead of time.
Had the website. And all of a sudden, Pope Francis decries their movement as not in line with Catholic teaching.
Now, of course, by Armchair Catholic, they meant we are just regular guys living the Catholic life, trying to be good Christians in a world where that's not always easy. Whereas Pope Francis meant...
He meant people who sit back and complain about the way everybody else is doing things and do not bother to be participatory or get involved in the day-to-day activities of the church.
Yeah.
Which is the mission of the church.
Which is precisely the opposite of what the Armchair Catholics were doing.
That's correct.
Nevertheless, the juxtaposition between the fact that he used that phrase and their title, it's made it hilarious for the last 2 years.
So congratulations on 2 years worth of podcasting.
And thank you.
Mike and I have enjoyed your show since pretty much the beginning.
Except for the casting doubt on the moon landing. That was no bueno.
Well, there was that, and yeah, there were a few other times.
But hey. But we also thought that this occasioned an interesting discussion. Because not only is it the Armchair Catholic, but recently, fellow YouTuber Steve the Missionary has called it quits. Now, we have an interesting relationship with Steve since our most viewed video was a direct response to one of his.
Yeah.
Now, that doesn't mean that we bear Steve any ill will.
No. We just think that on that particular subject, Steve was wrong.
And we explained why we thought he was wrong, but also the valid points that he raised, but how his solution wouldn't fix any of those.
That's correct.
And I have no opinion on this because my opinion has constantly been shot down, and I said don't film it, and they filmed it, and apparently everyone wants to watch it, so...
Yep. Thank you. Thank you for proving my wife wrong. You've done what I cannot. But, no, the point... So, after nearly 2 years of podcasting, they've been doing it for 2 years now, but recently they came to the realization that what with... Deacon Sean. Sorry, I kept remembering all the other deacons in my life.
Mm-hmm.
These are the deacons I know. But with Deacon Sean's ordination,
that's like a soap opera. The deacons that I know.
With super boring.
With icing there.
With Deacon Sean's ordination and his assignment to work in the city of Flint, the geographical proximity for the purpose of their recording got stretched. And at the same time, they had growing families. Mm-hmm. They had changing obligations. They all had a lot of things going on in their life. And they came to the realization, after much discernment, mm-hmm. that it was time to put this on a shelf and to move on to the next thing in their lives.
And that is an incredibly mature decision. Now, I, in particular, hate the phrase seasons of life, but there is a significant truth to the phrase.
Is that like salt and pepper and maybe some paprika?
Not,
Not
not
seasonings.
seasoning.
Oh.
Although that's good too. Stay salty. But there are some things that are only meant to last for a time.
Well, we have to remember, we are temporal beings living in a temporal world. We have not yet moved on to the eternity that is possible.
Well, eternal life starts now. But yes, but we're still stuck. We're mired in temporal things.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so we shouldn't get too attached to things.
No.
For example, let's say at a point in your life you have a particular devotion that you really like to do. But you find that as you continue to grow in your faith, as your faith deepens and matures, that devotion doesn't mean the same to you that it used to. Is that bad? No, not at all. That devotion helped you through a point in your life, through, if you will, a season, and now you're in a different time in your life where some other devotion will be more important to you. This isn't necessarily something to lament, but instead something to embrace, because if we always insist that things have to remain the exact same as they always have been, we'll never make progress.
That's right. We need to remember that we are, everything in this world eventually has to pass. Mm-hmm. And yeah, we all have those things that we really love and we want to hold on to forever. Mm-hmm. But that's just not a reality that's possible given our current circumstances.
And it's not necessarily healthy.
No. In fact, unhealthy attachment is one of the key indicators for whether or not something is sinful.
Mm-hmm. So, I think it speaks very well of Deacon Sean, Craig, and Rich that they were able to discern that as much as we enjoyed the Armchair Catholic and as much as they had built up a community around it, the work that the Lord intended them to accomplish has been accomplished, and now it's time to move on.
And as two people that really enjoyed what they did, and as a group of people who've been doing similar things for about as long, we can totally appreciate that. And we wish them all the best in the things that they go on to do.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. No, this is not like a coded message by us.
No.
We're not going anywhere.
We're not going anywhere. We've got a lot more. I was talking with the Lord the other day. He said I got a lot more that I need to do.
You heard it. So, comment below with your favorite remembrance of the Armchair Catholic, or better yet, your favorite remembrance of the Popish plot.
We're not going anywhere, but we'd like to know how you'd remember us if we were.
Deacon, go ahead and put a sappy song like they play for your senior class every year. They always pick the sappiest song for the year.
Those songs are so horrible. So, subscribe to our channel, ring the church bell to be notified when the next plot is uploaded, give this episode a like, and
until next time, remember to live your faith.
Love your faith.
Share that love.
I was always a fan of, what was it? It was a boy, I can't remember what group it was, but It's So Hard to Say Goodbye to Yesterday.
My class was...
That's my favorite
I Will Remember You, Will You Remember Me?
Will you remember me?
Did you have really sad looking dogs at your prom?
No sad looking dogs.